He always put together some masterpieces. Age of Wonders, one review. Let's get it.
Hey people, Seth here. Today, I'll be covering
almost
a
at
game that's
45K
very
loading
dear to me,
reactions,
and
yes
also
sir.
about as old as some of the audience. Age of Wonders, released 1999 by Triumph Studios, the same guys who made Overlord.
Got 40 more subs,
fantasy
45K
strategy game, which still holds up today because it's completely insane. Also, I apologize, but it appears my graphics have glitched. Does anyone know how to fix this? It's actually meant to look like this, but let's make the most of it. Age of Wonders is a game where forced immigration, slavery, and wide-scale racial genocide can be patched up and smoothed over in a few turns, where you can flood the entire map by casting the appropriately named spell, which is called Flood, drowning anyone who can't swim, where one wizard can spot another wizard, summon a 2x2 hex of mountains, and trap them inside forever, where instead of actually playing, I channel several death storms in a row, and instead of actually fighting the enemy leader, I can nuke them and the entire landscape from a safe distance, where, due to strained diplomatic relations with the halflings, one of my leprechauns went rogue. As leprechauns are invisible, the only way I have of detecting him is watching my buildings explode. This is a game where the phrase recruit the hose is an entirely valid and effective strategy. Also, I'm not sure if I have to censor this because I don't know exactly what I'm looking at. Could it be a nipple? Maybe.
Okay, listen, we are deleting this VOD, alright? So if you didn't watch the stream, this is getting deleted. There's no way. There's no way.
For example, you're under police interrogation and they show you a 4-pixel image and ask you, what do you think about that, huh? And naturally, you respond with, I guess it's all right. Oh yeah? Well, they zoom out the image, and it's a still frame picture of one man, naked, about to descend his entire weight upon an empty glass jar.
That was a crazy video,
you know that? And just like that,
Game
you
mess
become
was
a
good
deviant to society. You're locked up forever in fetish jail. Most don't even last the winter before getting vored by pyro. Anyway, I forgot the point I was trying to make. Let's proceed. Age of Wonders is fascinating because despite being turn-based, it is a game that stresses me greatly. That's because it can be played in one of two modes, turn-based or simultaneous. Simultaneous turns is objectively the best and most hilarious way to play the game because it completely destroys the sequence of turns, lets everyone make a move at the same time, and leaves you to figure out how the hell that even works. You could play a number of pre-made maps and download even more online, but primarily, we learn to play by playing the story campaign. Speaking of which, story. In Age of Wonders, once upon a time, everyone lived in general harmony under the Elvish court, ruled by King Inioch. Then, the humans came and slaughtered Inioch and his entire court. Naturally, this event led the elves to some very interesting political places, as you may consider this the Twin Watchtowers event of Elvish history, with one group, the Keepers, maintaining that the humans are relatively young and stupid, that we shouldn't hold a grudge over it, and instead seek greater understanding despite this early atrocity. The Cult of Storms, however, can be accurately summarized as race war now, kill every human that ever lived. These are probably the same edgelords sitting on Elvish discords making little Dark Age edits all day. The only numbers they know are human on elf crime statistics, and their favorite topic of conversation is how much better life was before they came to the Valley of Wonders.
Bro, like these games be having... Bro, I mess with video games, bro. They be teaching you stuff without throwing it in your face, you know what I'm saying? But you gotta be paying attention.
These elves are beyond basement dwellers. They straight up live underground. Completely relatable. I know that if I was ever invaded, I would tunnel deep into the Earth's crust and live inside my goon cave for the next 100 years. And that leads us to your pivotal choice. Serve the equivalent of the Elvish United Nations, or team up with a bunch of psychopaths that are just as likely to kill you as they are any human. Daddy Meandor is going to make Elf Hyperborea real, and you don't want to miss it. Regardless of what you choose, you get to make a custom leader with a selection of skills and abilities. You'll notice you have a lot of options. Also, you get to pick your spheres of magic. You pick 3 at the start, but eventually a total of 7 from the following elements: fire, water, air, earth, life, and death. Choosing one blocks you from selecting the opposite, so you really have to make your choices count. However, you have absolutely no idea what those choices...
Alright, chat, what y'all picking? Spheres of magic. I'm picking air. I'm picking... Hold up. So if you pick air, you can't pick water or fire? Or you just can't pick water? I'm picking air, life, earth, I guess. I don't know.
The opposite, so you really have to make your choices count. However, you have absolutely no idea what those choices are, so just pick whatever. Everything is good. Ultimately, no matter what you're playing and who you're playing against, the objective is always the same. It's a grand scale game of VIP. Your leader is very powerful, but not invincible. And the same goes for your enemies. Your goal is not to win the map, it's to
fire solos
and return his body to the streets. In combat, you can make a beeline for the leader, shank him, and that ends the entire fight. Everyone reverts to neutral as his entire faction ceases to exist. This creates a constant sense of high tension because your leader is the most tactical unit on the board. Basically, the game incentivizes you to put your leader's neck on the line at all times. The closer you are to getting assassinated, the more likely you are to win. Because the more fights you survive, the more experience you acquire, and the more skill points you have to spend on becoming theoretically invincible. I've run campaigns where my leader can slaughter entire armies, nuke entire armies, or forcibly mind control entire armies completely on his own. But that takes time. Before that, you'll have to rely on your troops. This game comes with 12 different races. They interact diplomatically with each other, with you and the rest of the map, and you can freely influence that in any direction. For example, playing Cult of Storms on the United Cities map, I'm supposed to occupy the Halfling capital, but instead of fighting, I sneak up on my orc ally, declare war, and brutally murder him on the same turn. And just like that, my diplomatic standing with the Halflings skyrockets. So I take their cities without lifting a finger. They're so happy with me getting rid of an enemy, they'll quietly brush aside the fact that they are now actively involved in scorched earth tactics against their former allies. This game taught me that any amount of xenophobia and racial hatred can be overcome by building walls. I guess it makes sense. They don't have to see me, and I don't have to see them. Sometimes you capture cities with races that don't like you, and if you hold on to them, they're going to rebel. That's fine, because we can evict them. Look, you're free to hold a negative opinion. Just please do it in the woods. Whatever race you choose to resettle is going to dislike this move, but whichever race you choose to move in is going to like you even more. And basically, the people who are moving out already hate my guts, so you're not losing anything. It's free real estate. Conversely, to illustrate the importance of diplomacy, I can click on this little button 3 times and I'll lose the game. Yes, at the click of a button, you can explode any structure you own, including cities filled with women and children. Naturally, razing a city to the ground is a universally unpopular move. Turn enough towns into mass graves, and all your troops will disband and leave you. It's important to understand that each race isn't following you specifically. They're just serving their mutual interest, and when that disappears, so does their loyalty. That doesn't mean war crimes are bad. It just means you should do it to someone else. Each time a structure explodes, it spawns neutral units. If you mouse over them, you can see their behavior. If it says raiding, oh boy, that entire region is about to become a whole lot more interesting. You see, raiders also burn shit down, in turn spawning more raiders, creating a feedback loop of wartime atrocity. Razing structures to the ground is not—
That's true, bruh. Raiding is like the cornerstone to all, you know what I'm saying, conflict, okay? I want what you got, you want what I got, and we gonna fight. You know
only incredibly fun, it's also a one-way process to accidentally wiping out the entire map. You can rebuild structures using a builder's guild.
Man said water, air, blood.
This can also be razed to the ground, meaning there's no way back. So yes, technically this is still a fantasy game, but if you want a more fitting title, it's Harry Potter and the Yugoslavic War Tribunal. Now, I've been thinking of branching out into the financial sector and opening up a sperm bank, but to do that, I need a lot of money. Advertiser money. Hey, let me tell you something. Me and my friends, we like to get very drunk and go on little tangents exploring the web. Well, after one night of this, I woke up to find my Amazon recommending me a statue of Baphomet, some effigy sticks to burn as offerings, and am I allowed to say this? A crack pipe. Everything you need to do a little magic. Now, that's pretty funny. Until I realized, wait a minute, I'm getting recommendations for something I browsed on a completely different account on a completely different computer, which means they already tracked, logged, and sold my data, and they know who I am. You might say, who—
That's crazy. That is insane,
cares?
boy.
They'll market to me.
I remember one time, bro, I just thought of something. I literally thought of something, opened, and I seen an ad for it. I said, there's no way, bro. There's no way. There's no way.
So
never even said it out loud.
Your data is going to be resold to data brokers, and anyone can buy it, including the government. Or should I say, bought, because Homeland Security and the IRS already have. The precise live geolocation of 1 in 4 Americans watching this is already in the hands of people who surely have your best interests in mind. Hey, have you ever been audited by the tax man? Let me tell you, it's a lot of fun, because the first thing they did is freeze my account. If not for friends and family, I could not buy food or pay the rent. And you know what they needed to do all of this? Suspicion. Do not give these people an inch, because they'll take your leg off. Nope.
Oh, that really happened? Nah, I'll be sick, boy.
No one should have a right to record or track your actions online. In fact, they don't.
This is the look, I already know I'm watching that. What's this, NordVPN? Come on now. Hey, Nord, I don't know what y'all paid. Y'all need to triple it, okay? Because this right here, this is an ad, okay?
That's the whole reason they use data brokers. Surveillance without a warrant is a breach of the 4th Amendment. But we didn't do it. We just contract someone to do it for us. I care for my privacy, but clearly the feds don't take no for an answer, which is why I use ExpressVPN.
ExpressVPN, I don't know what y'all paid. Y'all need to triple it, all right? Quadruple them payments, all right?
ExpressVPN reroutes my internet connection through a secure encrypted server, so it's much more difficult for data brokers to identify or log my activities online. ExpressVPN has a no logs policy by the fact.
Hey, ExpressVPN, y'all also need to hit up Aiden Ross, boy. Listen, that man got swatted again, okay? I don't know what my man needs to do, but look. Get you ExpressVPN, big fan. Hey, look, I low-key doing an ad right now. ExpressVPN, my Cash App is linked down below in the description, okay?
The fact that their VPN servers run off RAM, meaning that even if you wanted to, no information is actually stored. But if you're not fully convinced, I actually have the best endorsement possible. One of my friends works in police investigation. He told me himself he knows ExpressVPN is legit because he has repeatedly sent them a court order information request, to which they must legally comply each time they showed their records. And unfortunately for
nothing
them,
was there.
Fortunately for you, each time they showed nothing. So stop letting anyone and everyone track, monitor, and log everything you do online, because whatever unspeakable things you do, that's between you and your God and no one else. And if you'd like to keep it that way, get ExpressVPN today. It's incredibly easy to use. All you gotta do is download the app, tap a single button, and just like that, you're a ghost in the machine. And ExpressVPN does all this without slowing my connection. Sign up now and you get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by
Bro, I seen EDP first post on TikTok. I didn't follow him on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Somebody posted on Twitter, and my man said, "I got my cupcake." Get that man out of here, bro. Pack him up. You know what I'm saying? Box that man to go plate, ship him out. He's done. ExpressVPN.com/Seth or clicking the link in the description box below. Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Aside from diplomacy, the likelihood of units working together is dependent on their alignment. This can be anything from good.
Your life is everything. You serve all purpose. You should treat yourself now.
To neutral.
Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant.
To pure evil.
What I need you to do is I need you to take a nearest rope that you got, wrap it around, if you got a garage or a fucking stairway, and hang yourself, nigga. Period. Why are you alive? Do the world a favor and hang yourself.
I don't know, but I think
that's
this
crazy.
depends on the alignment of your
got that
leader's
cupcake?
race and how well that meshes with that specific creature. If you're a neutral race, you might be able to pull both sides of the spectrum, but the more polarized you are to one direction, the less likely it is that you'll convince and work with someone from the opposite end of the spectrum. Every race is structured by 4 common tech levels. Level 1 is your basic melee and ranged unit. Level 2 gives you siege weapons, clerics, and cavalry. Level 3 3 gives you specialist units, and level 4 gives you your ultimate unit. The maximum tech level depends on the size of a city, and basically if you want dragons, you need a 4-tile city. Now, I'm going to cover every race one by one because I can. Most maps come in layers, overland, caverns, and sometimes even deep caverns. Goblins pretty much own the underground because not only do they move fast and see well, they have giant beetles that can eat terrain. There's no front line against goblins because they'll just tunnel around you. Also, they have my favorite unit. Here's a montage to explain what they do. Goblin bombers, believe it or not, explode, taking about half a screen with them. Conversely, dwarves live underground, but also they're the only race that can cross mountains. The borders made by natural geography don't matter because dwarves can just hop over. They have access to the best tier 3 unit in the game, the Giant, which on its own can win you the entire campaign. Orcs have the best melee fighters in the game, and they get a dragon. The elves counter that by mass-producing megathoughts. This is not a joke. A nymph can seduce a tier 3 orc warlord and keep him in her cohort of simps for the rest of the game. When I was younger, the artwork and sprite of a nymph stirred feelings inside me. It made me act up, as they say, like a quirked up white boy busting it down sexual. No, but in all seriousness, from the tender age of 9,
up like this on his game.
Booba in this game, namely the nymph, the spider queen, the nature elemental, and the mermaid. I
see. I only heard him in like debates, like on like when streamers have like debates and stuff. That's the only time I heard him. I never watched his content though, so I might check and see what low tier god talking about.
I knew that being gay is going to be an uphill battle, and to this day, I'm still losing. Dark elves are just edgelord elves, except their version of a nymph is gonna step on your balls. They have the most fucked up tier 4 unit in the game, the Incarnate, which, to put it nicely, kills you and wears your skin until it's killed, at which point it jumps out to possess someone else. Yeah, this shit gave me nightmares as a child. Lizard men are just as comfortable in water as they are on land. They get turtle artillery and a basilisk. Their mortal enemy is the frostlings, which freeze everything they touch. They don't need to swim because frost queens can just turn water into ice. They have dire penguins and aggressive LED lights. If you see a horde of frostlings marching across the ocean towards you, the appropriate response is to cast Firestorm and melt the ice underneath them as they all drown to death. I love this game.
They got 'em out of here,
humans, as vanilla as they sound, they're actually really strong. They have gunpowder, knights, and the oldest human tradition of all, scamming the absolute shit out of you. Their ultimate unit is a skyship transport, which leaves the entire map open to wide-scale human enrichment. Azrics are desert humans. They're exactly the same, except they also have beholders, genies, sandworms from Dune, and an avatar of Vishnu that can mind-break entire armies. So, besides absolutely everything, they're pretty much the same. Halflings exist to be picked up and tossed down a deep well. Undead are immune or resistant to most forms of damage and can regenerate in a single turn. They also have access to Wraiths, one of 3 units in the entire game with physical immunity. If you think that sounds a little busted, that's because it is. Unless he gets smacked by a priest or exorcised, that Wraith is going to decimate the whole map. Oh, and they also have a Grim Reaper. He can insta-kill you on touch. But really, the worst thing about him
is that he's going to
ruin all your crops. The manifestation of death is outside our door, and he's fucking up our corn. The Hymen, or as they're known in the German copy, the Übermensch, exist to destroy the forces of darkness. Appropriately, every second unit in their lineup can either turn the undead or deal holy damage. I don't have much to say about them, except seeing a Titan get jumped by a full stack, only to kill them on the same turn, is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Now, let's talk about magic. I recently found that air magic is busted. At shipyards, you can make...
I just want to say I picked air, alright? Busted in a good way, like toot, you know what I'm saying? Listen.
Make ships, the largest of which, the galleon, is stronger than any ultimate unit in the game. Now, normally, that's alright because they're bound to the sea, so I enchant them to fly instead. And I cast Air Mastery, which doubles the speed of anything that sails or flies in the air. My newly created battle cruisers do both, and can now sweep the entire map in a matter of turns. Now, they are vulnerable to one thing, being killed, which is why I take free spheres in water and cast liquid form. The AI doesn't doesn't know how to dispel magic. So, yeah, the game is pretty much over. The other spheres
Come
get
on,
similar
I picked
bullshit.
air, bro. I told
Water
y'all.
is just a matter of waiting for everyone to drown. Fire can turn the map into downtown Detroit, and life can invoke the power of
So I should turn the mic up, the volume good?
to make
Y'all let me
foreign
know.
occupation seem like a pleasant experience. Death, on the other hand, lets you cast Pestilence, which, because of how they're programmed, breaks the computer AI. Instead of stepping out of a pestilence cloud and potentially taking less damage, the enemy will conclude that the most logical move to make is
stay there
none
and
at
die?
all, and will sit inside the brap cloud until they asphyxiate. And Earth magic is basically just talk shit, get buried alive. It's actually really soothing to admire the enemy leader safely inside his downy containment chamber. As you have no doubt guessed or gleamed from this video, there's many ways to break this game, and I only know some of them. My recent favorite is starting with Lightning Strike, which makes fights increasingly stupid as you watch multiple enemies run up to your leader, take a swing, miss, and get stun locked into oblivion. Also, I learned that unlike Seduce or Charm, which only work if a target has testicles, Dominate actually works on anything. And if you get lucky and roll a Ring of Flight, this includes dragons as well. By the way, I don't know what to think of this, but I learned how this works mechanically. I found out that men in this game are categorized as humanoid, whereas women fall under the category of creature. Regardless which side you fall.
That's crazy. All right. That is insane.
The campaign is pretty long. There's branching paths, a lot of lore, and generally is just a fun experience. Spoilers ahead, so if you don't want spoilers to a 23-year-old game, skip forward to this timestamp. All right, actually, I don't have any spoilers.
This game is
If one of those
23 years
people are
old?
gone, so we can have a quiet moment. Anyway, give it a few seconds, so they think I'm actually saying something valuable. Anyway, remember Elf Hyperborea? Yeah, that kind of went wrong.
That boy put
Neander tries
Kanye
to
on
revive
there?
King Inioth, and it works a little too well. The star shining over the Valley of Wonders is blood red.
Neptune was
Inioth
good.
is now an undead lich, leading the forces of death. Positives, destruction of humanity. Negatives, he's going to kill us all in the process. All in all, a mixed bag. So we should probably do something about it. At some point, you can escape with your people to safety, or choose to stand and fight with the arrival of a Hyman, whose name sounds very strange if you say it too quickly.
Exactly.
If you're playing the cult, your options
I
are
thought
like,
it was something
I
else
could
till I
join
read it.
the undead, but they're probably, maybe, definitely gonna kill me. Yeah, I'm going Team Hyman. Then you win the campaign, and it's like, maybe the real Cult of Storms was all the friends we made along the way. I'm a wanted war criminal. If you play keepers and choose to stay, you and the Hyman essentially put Inioth back in the ground. Your reward for all this is a lifetime of loneliness as the last of your race has sailed across the sea, never to be seen again. It's a bittersweet ending, and I like it very much. You know the fable of a fox and the sour grapes? Yeah,
Never heard of it.
eat them because they're sour. To this day, the game looks amazing. I'm running it 800 by 600, stretched to a 1080p monitor. The possibility that this knowledge is making someone very upset right now makes it all the more enjoyable. The sprite work, beautiful. Animated dragon that follows your cursor in the UI, beautiful. I love this game. What more can I say? The soundtrack is so good I've listened to it at least 100 times back to back for the last 2 decades. And the sound effects. The sound effects are completely scuffed. Full disclosure, I think they used royalty-free stock
They
sound
had
effects
to,
for
bruh.
most of the combat, and I love it. Look, I don't need to explain why Beholder sounds like a golden retriever. It's a feature. Critique. If you alt-tab the game on Windows 10, it's gonna turn into inverted neon purple puke. I've kind of learned how to navigate this stereoscopic hell, if only because I believe it's some kind of portal into the lean dimension. Jokes aside, if this happens to your game, it's fucked. Just close and restart. Also,
you're
if you
done.
get frequent crashing with a pop-up that says like map view or show scene, there's a patch you can run to fix it. I'll link that in the description below. Finally, we have a sale on GOG for Age of Wonders 1, 2, and 3. I couldn't get the expansions for free.
Hold up. This game is still $50? Oh, there's no way.
A sale on GOG for
$54.91. How old did they say this game was? listen, that is quality right there, okay? That's quality.
Age of Wonders 1, 2, and 3.
Hayes was good.
I couldn't get the expansions for free because they're really expensive, but I did manage to secure the expansion for Age of Wonders 2. They will be available for very little money. I personally endorse every single one of them because they're great games, and I will review them when someone pays me a lot of money. Offer code FUGHUNTER goes in all fields. Enjoy. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos, except recently because I've realized
they low-key made up the dab, no cap.
Instead. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Hey, yo.
Hey, people. Seth here. Today, I'll be covering a game that's very dear.
Pause, all right? W breakdown of what goes on in this world, all right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, y'all could put 2 and 2 together. I ain't gonna say. You just gotta look, pay attention, you know, okay, I see what's going on here. And that's all you gotta do, man. That's all you gotta do.